Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us again. I'm Tom Grisak with the Grisak Group, and I am so pleased to have John Hubbard, the mayor of Fairview. John has been gracious enough to visit with us and let me ask him. I've got quite a few questions about Fairview. Fairview has always been so good. I think John's the third mayor that I've interviewed over the years, and a lot of them repeatedly. So every year I kind of find out what's going on. And I'll have some questions for John, and hopefully we'll have another interview in another year, and we'll find out, well, how did things work, or
There
why
we go.
didn't it work, or has anything happened better than expected? So thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Let me start off by asking you about your family. Where were you raised? Where were you born? I know you went to Hattiesburg,
I did
Southern Miss.
Southern Miss for graduate work in Hattiesburg with my master's in economic development,
Oh, okay.
and then I got my PhD down the road a little bit in Long Beach, next to the coast, and I got that in human capital development with an emphasis in logistics, transportation,
Wow,
and
that's
trade.
impressive.
Yeah,
Well, how
well,
about
it's not that
undergraduate? What was your degree in, and
Abilene
where?
Christian,
Okay,
and right down the road about
yeah.
180 miles or so.
And how did you end up in? I lived in Columbia for about a year when I was in the oil
Oh,
business,
okay.
so I know Hattiesburg pretty well. That's the only place that's close to Columbia that there's anything to do. Were you there when Brett Favre was there?
No, I wasn't there when Brett Favre was there, but he's a legend.
Yeah, he
He's a
really
legend there.
is.
Yeah.
And then how did you end up from Abilene Christian all the way out to Hattiesburg?
Well, I went there later on. They had a great economic development program, one of the best programs in the United States.
Hmm.
And so I was interested in that, and so I went there for that. And then they had this program that kind of tagged on with it. It was a PhD program. I said, you know what? Why not?
Mm-hmm.
And so I went on and pursued my PhD as
Yeah,
well.
that's very
Yeah.
impressive. How difficult was your PhD? Was it harder than expected or about what you thought?
It was about what I thought, but I look back at that and I know God had his hand in that because when I did my dissertation, it was in airport economic development.
Okay.
And
Well,
so what happens if you know about a dissertation, you read everything there is to know about a topic, and then you write about something that no one has ever written about.
mm-hmm.
And this has really been some really good tools for me as we talk about the McKinney
Oh,
Airport
I
and
was
the
going to say that's a
beneficial.
nice tie-in, which I'm going to be asking you about.
Okay, so I know there was a reason for that.
Yeah. Um, Now tell me, you're married. How many kids do you have?
Well, I don't count the kids, but I guess you have to have the kids to have the grandkids.
Hmm.
I have 5 grandkids,
Oh, wow.
and I have 3 wonderful children,
Hmm.
2 girls and a boy,
And where do
and,
they live? Are they in the area?
um, one, like, it seems like half the metroplex lives in Princeton,
Hmm.
and then the other 2 live close south of Fort Worth, so they're
Okay,
they're
they're all
relatively close.
close.
Yeah, they're
That's nice.
yeah.
That's one of the main reasons people sell their homes, believe it or
I
not.
believe it.
It used to be more divorces than everything. Now it's actually, I think, more people sell their home to get close to their kids.
Well, my wife is an only child.
Hmm.
And pretty much where we moved, they moved. Not real close, but
Hmm.
close until
Right.
till their last move. Then we lived right next door to each other.
Okay. And does she work? Does she
N-
work? What does
She
she do?
works on taking care of me.
Okay. That's full-time job.
Well, that's a full time job for sure. She'll tell you that.
And the former Mayor Lessner he had a, I guess it was a full-time job too,
Hmm.
along with being the mayor. Do you have another job?
Well, I'm gonna retire because I have to have. There's too much stuff to do here with the town of Fairview. I was gonna retire anyway, but this kind of accelerated my retiring. I work at UNT Dallas. I'm a professor there in the business department.
Okay.
I teach process improvement, logistics, and business courses
All
there.
right. I got my master's at UNT,
Okay,
and
yeah.
Jason got got his undergraduate degree at UNT.
Okay.
Back then, for me, it was North Texas State.
Well, let me tell you, I played football at Abilene Christian, and we played North Texas State.
Oh, you were
We
in the
were
same
we were
conference?
in the Long Star Conference way back then.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
So maybe Hayden Fry, was he there at
I
coaching
no, I don't remember Hayden Fry.
UNC?
No, I don't
Okay.
remember him back
Okay.
then. But yeah, I remember North Texas State.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and I've asked Mayor Lessner about this, periodically. How much time does being a mayor take? Can you make it a full time? Like,
You could make it a full-time job if you
really?
there's something to do just about every day. Just so for instance, Monday. Was that yesterday? No, it was
Uh,
2 days ago.
yeah, 2 days ago.
Had a, press conference in the morning, had a budget session in the afternoon, then had another function that evening.
Yeah.
And, that's atypical, but a lot of the days there's something to do every day. There
Mm-hmm.
really is.
Mm-hmm. And who sets your schedule for you? Do you have someone that does it for you, or do you?
Well, I volunteered my wife to do that for me.
Okay.
Other than that, there's no help. I mean,
Really?
the town has no staff to do that. We're on
Really?
our own. Yeah,
That surprises me.
yeah.
Fairview's such a well-run city, I've always thought, because I compare it to Lucas, and Lucas has gotten much better over the years. It used to be um, pretty dysfunctional many years ago, but it's progressed.
Well, let me tell you a story. Maybe I shouldn't tell you this story or not, but I was Lucas's first town administrator back in right before the turn of the century, so about 1997.
That was just before I moved out
Yeah,
there. I think we moved out there in '98.
I was I was there
Well,
maybe.
Was it Mayor Calvi?
Andrea Calvi,
Andrea Calvi.
yes, she was there, and then Harvey, David Harvey
Yeah,
was either right before. No, David Harvey was an accountant, and he moved to Allen. And so she was actually never elected. She was appointed by the council
mm.
to take David Harvey's spot, and then she was elected by the council mayor. And I think she's back in,
She moved up north,
yeah,
didn't
I think
she?
she's in New York.
Okay.
But her husband or former husband was editor for D Magazine, I think,
Was he?
back then. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I knew Andrea. In fact, this is a kind of a funny story. When I first got into real estate, I was trying to make connections and build relationships, and she had a home that she was trying to sell. It was, back then it was maybe a $95,000 home, and for some reason, she felt like she had to uh, do the cleaning on it. They didn't hire anyone to come in and clean it. So Andrea and we were down on our hands and knees over there, literally cleaning out the bathroom, cleaning out toilets. I thought, good Lord, if this is my career, I've made the wrong choice, because I came from commercial real
Oh
estate.
my
And
gosh.
my first deal, I'm down there cleaning toilets. So luckily, it got a lot better for me.
That's good. That's good.
But I knew she'd moved away, and then I lost touch with her.
Yeah, I think she's up northeast somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's
Um,
where she was from.
okay. So, how did you, did Fairview find you, or you to find Fairview? How did that happen?
Um, I'm going to answer both.
Hmm.
I ran after I moved to Fairview about 14 years ago,
Hmm.
and I just decided I would run for council. There was a spot that was, well, there was all the spots were contested except for one. I thought, you know what? I'm going to just go in and run. That person will appreciate it. Just after they beat me, they'll appreciate that they had challenge.
Hmm.
And so I ran, and I did pretty. I lost by less than 20 votes, which I was surprised about that. But that got me noticed,
Hmm.
and so I was put on the Parks Board,
Hmm.
got involved with that, and continued to be involved in that. Then I received a call several years later after that, and was asked if I would consider running for council. So I thought about it and said, "Sure, I'll do that."
Hmm.
And so
And
then,
what was when you take a position like that, you're always going to have, no matter what stance you take on any issue, you're going to have people that disagree.
mhm.
Why did you, and with mayor too, why did you take that on, knowing that you're going to have people throwing darts at you, at the same time there are going to be people shaking your hand?
and
You got to have
people
a tough personality.
and people shaking your hand and then throwing
Oh
darts with
yeah,
the other.
yeah. Those are the guys you got to worry about. Yeah,
I have a few of those now, but I'm not going to mention them by
yeah.
name.
I can imagine. I could probably name them.
You probably could. Yeah, you probably could.
So why did you take on that at this stage of your life?
Because I think I can make a difference.
Hmm.
And I know I want to be, I want to treat people like I want to be treated. And most of all, I find out that people really want to be heard.
Hmm.
Even if you can't do what they want them to do, that at least you care enough to listen to what they've got and understand what they've got and to listen. And
Hmm.
there's too much talk, 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 and then not enough listening.
Hmm.
And I think people want to be heard. And that's why. And I think I challenge myself to do that. I want to do that, and I think I've done
And
that.
how long have you been mayor now?
One long year.
Okay,
And we have 2-year terms, and fir-
2 year, that's right.
we have 2-year terms. I
Okay,
just finished with the first part of
okay,
my first term.
right.
Yeah.
So you're not burned out. You think you're going to stick with it?
I think I will. I think I will.
Yeah.
I have to talk to my wife and see if she's ready to stick with it, because I tell you what, having a supportive spouse is just as important in this
Oh,
deal
I'll bet.
like that. So
And I'm really surprised, as sophisticated as fair, or at least the way it seems, that they don't have an assistant for the mayor. But who knows? I don't know how they run their finances.
we're lean and mean.
Yeah.
I mean, up in the administration, we can't have more than about 7 people maybe that
Hmm.
run that whole thing. They do a really good. Julie Couch and her team do a really good job with
Hmm.
that.
So, what are your responsibilities other than saying yes and no to everything that comes up? Are you actively, well, I know you're on one issue, uh, uh, kind of pushing for things to go through, or do you basically let the council bring things to you and you agree to it or not agree to it? How much of a personal impact do you try to make on issues?
Well, a couple of things I think I try to do. One, we have a vision that the council's adopted and a strategic plan. And so, really, what I've always talked about is, and I guess maybe this comes from my training, every single one of those goals that we have, when we have an agenda item, it should relate to one of those goals or vision statements that we've got. If it
Okay.
doesn't, we don't need to consider it. So, in one way, if we all agree on the vision statement and then those goals and objectives under that, then the council's agreed on the direction that we need to take.
Hmm.
And so that's one thing. And then there are, like, I call them maintenance things that the town
Right.
council brings up to us. And then the council may say, hey, what about this? We need to address this. And we do that as a group. So
Okay. I was wondering, is that whose responsibility is it to come up with those? In the next year, let's try to get this done, or 2 years out, let's try to get this done. Is there do you all meet periodically and say, this is what we need to work on? Or is it kind of management by crisis?
well, we're trying to avoid management by
Yeah.
crisis. And right now we're going through our budget process. I mentioned that a little bit earlier, that and this is where we sit down, we talk about what we're going to do for the next year. How many dollars that we have to spend, and then what are the priority things? What have people told us we need to do? We set priorities there. This is what we need to be done. One of the things I always like is we talk about all the financial stuff, which is great because you've got to stay within the budget. But what my goal is, what is the output? What are we getting done for that value? Like, it requires, we have 21 miles of asphalt streets.
Mhm.
And in order to maintain those, we have to maintain 3 miles each year, because there's about a 7-year life expectancy on all this.
Okay.
So then we can say, okay, this money costs, we need transportation, we need the streets. This is what we need to do with it. So
Hmm.
that that's what we do. Asphalt is so expensive, even with the maintenance that we put on the
Is it
asphalt.
really?
But with oil prices, has a lot to do with the asphalt streets.
Yeah, good
I
point.
was talking to our public works director about that the other day. We were talking about the streets, and it's much more efficient for us to just overlay the asphalt streets than to.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
give you an
I can.
example. I give you an example. Are you familiar with Latham Drive between Fairview Parkway and the US 75?
Oh, sure. Uh huh.
Okay, there's a
Right.
new development that's
Right.
just going just north of that.
Next to Billingsley.
Um, that little stretch of road, it can't be, it's not a mile. It's going to cost, it's probably 3/4 of a mile. That stretch of road is going to cost us about $1.2 million to,
Are you kidding
no,
me?
no.
That's
Yeah, it's
unbelievable.
crazy. And
Well,
so,
no wonder
yeah,
you've got to take them kind of a step at a
yeah.
time.
And we've been fortunate in Fairview. Most of our streets are, it's a good thing and a bad thing, are controlled or maintained by the state or the county, all the
Hmm.
major roads,
Hmm.
like, well, not, and really now the part of Stacy between Highway 5 and 75, the cities of Allen and the town of Fairview take care of that. But with that exception, everything else is done. The major streets are done by the county or the state.
Are there any rock roads left in Fairview?
I don't think there are any rock roads left in Fairview.
Okay. Okay. One of the things that the former mayor Lessner was very proud of and he'd worked hard on was bringing internet, high
Mm,
speed fiber into Fairview. And they got it done, with one exception. I think Summerhill was left off, and that was the only place they didn't have.
wow. Okay.
Has that been finished out now? Do you know?
I don't know, but I will definitely find
I was
out.
just
I,
curious
I
because,
think,
and I don't know why that happened. That was the only development left.
but from what think, I think it's all done now. I think
Okay.
it's in, but
Okay.
I do know that the town actually, well, one, it helped having an AT&T official that lived here. That helped a little bit.
Yeah, he was over in off of Orr Road, Winnicott, right?
Yeah.
And that was the strangest thing because that one little development there had fiber and everything, nothing else around it had it.
Yeah.
And then I found out that that executive lived there, and that
That's
was part
right.
of him living there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I even think we gave, worked some out agreement that we gave them some funding to help accelerate that getting done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what do you or do you have a number one goal? Like, but within 2 years of me being elected mayor, this is the one thing that I would really like to see happen.
Number one thing by far is mitigating or reducing our traffic. And a lot of that we're hostage to the state and the county on that. Just
Right.
one of the big things we're aware of right now is Country Club and Stacy Road. There's a backup. So we asked the county just at the last meet, well, the meeting before last, if they would do a traffic study so we could see what can we do. What we found out though, we've done another study. Most of the traffic is pass through traffic going east, like towards Princeton.
Mhm.
And so we asked the county or text, it was actually we asked TxDOT if they would do a traffic study. They said, no, we don't have the money to do it. So we thought it was that important that we commission the
Mhm.
town to do that, we being the town council. So
Right.
we're looking at that. So I think that's it, looking at that. The next thing would be not anti-growth, but smart growth. You know,
Mhm.
we only have a few acres available that's left in the town. We
It
need to be smart with it.
it's amazing. I actually, recently have flown all Lucas is not quite twice as large, but almost twice as large in land size as Fairview, and they have a tremendous amount of undeveloped land, but there aren't any large tracts left in Fairview.
Well, there was one, and I don't remember the woman's name, but she left it as a nature preserve of like 200 acres on the
Oh, okay.
east side of town. So that can't be touched. It's already
Yeah.
been given over to the state,
Okay.
and it is supposed to remain in its untouched
Okay.
state.
I wonder if it's very, very far east.
It is.
And I can see it on the map. There's a big tract there, and I thought that was owned by the Corps of Engineers, but it's all heavily wooded,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Okay. I thought that was Corps property,
Yeah.
but that makes sense.
But most of the very few residential spots or lots are available in Fairview, just individual lots.
Hmm.
Most of our development left will be in the commercial district, around Highway 5 and
Sure.
to the west of that.
Yeah.
The
And
Billingsleys, are
yeah.
coming in.
And when is Billingsley? Have they given you a start date yet?
Yes, they've given us a start date. It will be next July. which they've
Okay.
actually delayed that a little bit, but it'll be next July.
Okay.
And
And
we
tell me what they're going to start. But why don't you explain exactly what they're, I know there's going to be apartments, there's going to be office, there's going to be retail. Have they given you any more?
well, I know in their plans, like, here's I'm gonna clear up a misconception. Um, it was talked that there were gonna be 2,000 apartments built in the, Billingsley thing.
Mhm.
That's not true.
Okay.
It's 1,999
Oh, well, that's
apartments.
good. I wonder how they came up with that. Was there some,
Well, we have a restriction that it can't be more than
I'll
2,000,
be
so it's
darned.
gonna be 1,900, but it's gonna be a mixed-use development, office and retail, but it's fluid as the market like right now, you may know this, that the market in this area, lots of apartments.
Mhm.
So they're actually kinda slowing that down and relooking at that, but it's a master plan that's gonna have, like I said, retail, mixed use development, and then those apartments, which could be a combination of townhomes and things like that.
So they'll have sit-down restaurants, I'm
Oh,
sure, and
yes.
nice stuff along
Yes.
75.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And then right just to the south of that, between the new construction, there's what's the person's name? I wanna say it's, Latham Properties. I can't remember the owner of the property now. And there's a few acres there that can be developed.
Okay. You're not gonna believe this. This was probably 35 years ago. Um, I actually met the man who owned all of that property on both sides of 75,
Mhm.
and he had just a tiny little farmhouse in the middle of a cotton field, right where the retail mall is,
Yeah.
and we went up and knocked on his door, not having any idea he owned that property. And he did, and, he sold that land like 3 times. That was back in the day of the flips. So he'd sell it, offer financing on it, they default. He'd take the property back, take the earnest money again or the
Mm.
down, and then he'd sell it again. And so he also owned the property across the street that Billingsley bought.
Well,
But
when the Billingsleys, had their groundbreaking, or when we opened up the bridge on Fairview Parkway, the daughter of the family was there.
what are they gonna start with on in July?
It'll be some apartments from what
Right.
we're home rule cities with how the
Yeah.
state classifies us,
Okay.
because that's when you have 5,000 more people. You can petition to become a home rule city. But, like Flower Mound is called a town, and Highland Park, I think they're the town of Highland Park, but we're all home rule cities.
Okay.
We're
And you've got
municipalities.
about 11,500
That's
somewhere in
that's
there?
right, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, one of the things that Fairview differentiates from Lucas, and there are no apartments in Lucas. And one of the reasons is Lucas doesn't have first of all, the zoning, but second, they don't have a public sewer. So you can't build apartments really without public sewer. And the reason Fairview has them is because all that public sewer came in along 75. So that's where all those apartments are going.
Yeah, but, we don't have much sewer, um, really that far east of Highway 5. There are
Right.
little spots,
Right.
like, the, uh, the new LDS temple that's going in, they're gonna actually have to get their sewer from Allen
Oh,
because
okay.
there's it's not there. It's not
I
there.
never even thought about
Mhm.
that.
It's right on Stacy Road,
Okay,
it
across
feeds
the
it, yeah.
street.
Now, they've done that once for the Chase Oaks Church.
Mhm,
They've hooked up to Allen Sewer,
mhm.
and so now the temple and the, current meeting house is hooked up to the
Okay,
Allen
okay.
Sewer.
Um, Mayor Lester said one of the mistakes that the city made long ago is they're not getting any revenue off of Stacy Road because
Mm.
it's one church after another after a, and he said if I had to do it again, we would have saved some of that for retail. So as well planned as Fairview was, leaving all commercial down at one side and leaving the single family homes down at the other end, which was brilliant. And that's why Fairview looks the way it does.
Mm.
He said that's probably one thing we probably would have reconsidered knowing the way it turned out.
I have mixed feelings about that. I think that was the will of the people, the way it's set up. I think really the planners who developed that plan, that mainly west of Highway 5 roughly, would be commercial, and
Right.
then the other part keeping it country. I think that was the right move. There was an opportunity a few years ago to rezone that property that's on Stacy and Meandering Way to office retail, and the
I bet
town
you wish you'd done it.
and the town didn't and the town citizens did not want that.
Really?
Knowing that, but they knew that that would be less revenue for the town, and they knew that. That's what they wanted.
Be
And so
careful what you wish
that's
for.
right. That's right. That's right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'll bet
yeah.
they can kick themselves now.
Well,
It's been a national story, really, as far as the Mormon Church
well, we
coming
get
in and the height of the steeple.
the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day
Right.
Saints has their CUP, and they're actually building it right now. They're doing all the
Yeah.
groundwork and stuff on that, and we're not reneging on what we said. They've got their permit. They have
Yeah.
permission to do it. Now, there's been an initiative by me and some other towns residents to say, would you just stop and look and see what this is causing town to do?
Mhm.
We have never talked to anyone from church leadership during this whole process. It started out with, if we're going to sue you if you don't do
Mhm.
what we want you to do. Sitting as a council member at the dais when we were going through the CUP process, we heard time after time that the height of the steeple is important to how we worship God,
Mhm.
not by 5 people, but by, I wouldn't say hundreds, but many, many,
Yeah.
many people. So now we look over in Yorba Linda, they have the same size temple, 30,000 square feet, yet their steeple is 70 feet.
Mhm.
And so I'm thinking, why? What's changed? And
Well,
I go, is it, well, the old president, Nelson, Dr. Nelson, passed away.
mhm.
So they have a new one, Dallin H. Oaks. So I thought maybe something's changed
Mhm.
because there was another temple that was in Vienna, Austria, that was announced that's got no steeple. There's one
That
in Paris that has no.
the way that letter that you made to them said, "Can you at least, we're not going to change the rules. Can you at least revisit? Let's rethink this
Yep,
and you know come in as kind of be good neighbors and everything." And I mean, the the insults that were thrown, I could not believe it. So
yep,
I don't know if that's. I'm assuming it's nothing has changed and it's going as usual. But I'd love to
yep.
see them just this. What an opportunity to bring the community together.
Yes, and let me tell you, it's up to them. Now, this is not just a local issue. I mean, locally, it does affect us. But to me, this is a nationwide issue because they have an opportunity. I'm going to say an opportunity to project how they're going to treat other communities. Last year, they announced 15 temples to be built in communities.
Hmm.
This year, so far, they've announced 2, and there probably will be more. The year before that, they announced 17. So they're going to have to be working with different communities.
Hmm.
And so these communities can look back and say, "Hey, how are we being treated with
Hmm.
this? How are we treat? Are we? Are they being a good neighbor with us? You know, we
Hmm.
talk about two-way communications and stuff like that. That's all we're asking is just sit down with us. I had the best experience 8 years ago. I think it was 8 years ago. I'm a member of a group called Vocal Majority. It's a men's chorus, and we went and we sang in Salt Lake City, and we had the opportunity to sing at the music and the spoken word that Sunday morning.
Hmm.
And it was the best experience, one of the best experiences I've had in my life. It was just
Hmm.
wonderful, the way we were treated. And I'm just thinking, those leaders cannot know what's
Yeah,
happening
could
here.
be. Maybe they don't know what's going on.
Right. And I have to think that from the way we were treated, that's got to be the case.
Yeah.
Like we talked about the Billingsley's, they're putting in a big development. Well, we've sat down like we are now, and we've talked about things. We have never sat down with the church leadership. I'm just asking to sit down and just hear our story. It may be, you know what, we need to keep it like it is.
So
But
who was with the negotiations when you guys were going back and
oh,
forth?
it was just nothing but attorneys.
Okay.
That's all we ever had were
Well, it
attorneys.
could have been one of the problems.
Yeah,
Sometimes you put them aside and said,
right.
let's get the principles together and
That's
see if
right.
we can make something work.
And so last night, so we had this campaign, fairviewspeaks.com. And our idea is we have two messages. One, maybe the church leadership will hear us, and social media is a powerful thing. And one thing is social media stays there forever.
Hmm.
And so it's one, maybe to reach them, and two, to tell the rest of the world what's happening here. Well, we put signs up, and we put signs up in the median, um, in front of the construction site and some other key
Oh,
places
I
around
haven't
town.
seen any of
Well,
those.
you hadn't seen them because they were taken down. I don't know who yet.
Gosh, I can't imagine.
I can suspect, but I don't know who yet. But we are getting video from businesses, and we're going to find out who did that. We are
Good.
going to find out who did it.
Yeah. It's
But
just
they're gone.
it's very
Yeah.
disappointing. It's
They're back. I drove.
Well, we put them back up, and if they're taking it down again, we're going to put them back up.
Can you set them in concrete, the
Well,
signs?
we've got some that are going to be put in pretty. So we're going to put in a bigger sign. So,
Yeah.
but it's not to be. We want to be really in this whole thing very respectful. And they talk about communication, and they talk about not keeping our word. Well, they've got their building permit. We're just asking them to voluntarily
Right.
just listen to us.
Right.
But at the same time, I hear this, we've got to have it at this certain height. And then I see other things that aren't that way. It just makes me wonder. That's
Yeah.
all.
And why? How do they? How did they get past the town restrictions on height? You already had that established, didn't you?
No, no,
Oh, I
we
thought
didn't.
you
It,
did.
that was it was well. We gave a church
Yes.
the tallest steeple height, which was 68 feet. Well, you know where that was?
Yes. Uh-huh.
It's the meeting house
Yeah.
next door. So we thought that was kind of like the
Right.
goal of what we would want. We could live with something that was the highest that, so it's no better or no worse than anyone else.
Yeah.
But they didn't
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah. Well, um, I don't have a dog in the fight because I don't live in Fairview. And no one cares about they're welcome to come into the town. It's not a matter of,
it
it's
never
just
has
that
been.
huge steeple that you can see from
It's as,
downtown Dallas, probably.
it's as tall as Statue of Liberty without the base is 125 feet tall.
Hmm.
So that's like putting the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
And it's at the highest, one of the highest points, elevation points in the town.
So you came in at what process? Had decisions already been made, or did you have a chance
I
to?
became we made the decision in April, grant the CUP, and I came in May.
Okay,
I don't think the new council would have passed that CUP.
really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, I don't know for sure.
You think said okay, sue us, and we'll.
I think so. That was my attitude. So I was one of the two people who
That's
voted
it's
against it.
bad press for
Yeah,
for
I
them
just
too.
yeah
Being in a lawsuit
yeah
over something like that.
yeah.
Oh
So
well.
hi.
Let's talk about
Okay.
since we're talking about things that are kind of up in the air. McKinney Airport.
McKinney Airport.
Um, Tell me, hasn't any airline um, committed to it yet?
I believe Avillo Airlines has
How do
committed.
you spell that?
Avelo, Avelo.
Okay.
I think that's it. But here's the thing though, Avillo Airport, it's a low cost airline. One of their biggest part of their business plan was they took detainees from
I
cities.
had read
Yeah,
that.
and
Yeah,
but they
through
for
ICE.
yes,
ICE was using it as a fly through or stop for.
yes, but for whatever reason they don't do that
Mm,
anymore. And now I read a recent article about them saying that in their new plan, they want airports to pay them for landing there. I don't know what the deal is. The deal is
mm.
with McKinney. I think that was done before that, but that's their new plan. I've also read that they've cut out Tuesday service nationwide, and so like I
What do you
told,
mean? What does that mean?
they don't fly on Tuesdays for
Mm,
whatever reason. They don't fly on Tuesdays,
mm.
which is. But here's the thing, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Maybe I did my dissertation on airport economic development. And one of the things that I found out, which you think is pretty obvious, is that the success of an airport depends on how it's connected to other airports.
Mhm.
As simple as that sounds, it's true. And so you look, if you look at me, I'm a citizen here that's in this area where you live,
Mhm.
and you want to go to Los Angeles. What would you rather do? Would you rather go to McKinney National Airport on a day that Avila or whoever else is going to be servicing that, and then fly to a hub because none of these low cost airlines fly to major places? Then catch another airplane and go, or would you rather take a drive to McKinney, excuse me, to DFW or to Love Field and go direct?
I'd rather go direct.
Right. And now here's where I think, to me, where McKinney National Airport, where they're missing sweet spot is, instead of competing with those two airports that are expanding, they should work with them. And what I mean is the big thing now is what I call air taxis or urban air Ubers
Mhm.
that are short flight electric planes that can go. So wouldn't you rather you live here, you drive to McKinney National Airport, you take an air Uber or air taxi, you go through TSA in McKinney, take an air taxi, jump the crowd, and land at either DFW or Love Field
Mhm.
and go in. Those planes are quieter. You're working with them. To me, that's what they need to be doing. We're not against the airport. We're against we want the proper use of that
Yeah.
airport.
Yeah.
And so but you know what? The market will determine that, because if that was such a great place, why don't you see Delta and American and
Mhm.
United? Why aren't they there already?
Mhm.
Because it's not a good deal. That's
Yeah.
why. So I'm confident that the market will take care of what's happening.
Yeah.
But the citizens of McKinney that voted it down twice are losing out. The CDC, they're using CDC funds when it was voted down to shift over to that. So the citizens are losing out on all those tax dollars that were meant for community development projects that go into to support a few people around that airport.
Mhm.
So
Every person I talked to, all the listings that we had in McKinney, not one person was for the airport. They all voted against it. And city council, I guess, just what was the mayor's name? Um, Ja-
Tom Fuller,
yeah, I
Fuller
guess he
brushes,
just
Fuller.
he was going to get it through. That was going to be his contribution. But I know the citizens didn't want it, and maybe city council. I don't know. Who knows what
But,
the
but they voted for Bob Cox, who said, to his credit, from the very beginning he was for the airport, and they
hmm
voted for him. So
hmm
there you
Yeah.
go.
So, but you don't see, I mean, we don't have 747s right now. How big are their planes? Do you know?
Right now they can land a smaller plane, some of the smaller planes, but they're mainly just private
Okay.
planes that go in there now. Now they do plan on extending their runway, I think, 1,500 feet to
I
accommodate
said
this.
747, I meant
Yeah,
737. They don't
seven.
have those flying out
No,
of there.
no, they don't fly, but
Okay.
they're gonna have to extend the runway. To me, and here's a thing, and we've got a task force that we're getting back in sync with it. And we've got some preliminary numbers in, and you may know this too. One of the things that happens when an airport like that goes in with a proximity to the airport, property values go down for a
hmm
while. They'll
hmm
eventually go back up after several years. What happens to the person that's trying to sell their home? They see a 8 to 12% drop in their property values. So, but McKinney doesn't know what they don't know. So it's up to us now to get that information to them. We talked about communication, so we can know there's got to be some type of remediation. If we find out that their property values are dropping in Heritage Ranch by 10%,
Yeah. And it comes right over Heritage
right,
Ranch.
they've
Yeah.
got to do something to help out those people. And like some airports, they restrict the time.
hmm
But something we want to work with them, but still, it's not best for North Texas. I mean,
hmm
a far better place is
I know you're
the
talking about
regional airport.
yeah, off of North
Uh,
Preston or way up there.
y-
Where is it?
well,
Not
it's
too,
in Grayson County and
yeah.
Denison Sherman.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's called North Texas Regional Airport,
Right.
North Texas Regional Airport.
Right.
And actually, Fairview has gone out, and we're going to support that airport. And we met with the mayors of Fairview. Excuse me, I'm the mayor of Fairview. We met with the mayor of Denver, of Denison and Sherman, and we talked about having a coalition.
Uh-huh.
You look at traffic, and you know this because you're in real estate, that the traffic patterns, it's really grown past McKinney. We're talking Anna and
Mm-hmm.
Prosper.
Mm-hmm.
We got the toll road going up there. You've got the casinos that are in
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma. It makes more sense to have that airport there. Where it is now, it's only 30 miles away from 30 miles away from DFW. There's more congestion in that area. It makes more sense. Traffic patterns are going that way. Population is going that way. It needs to be there. They're on 1,400 acres out there
Mm-hmm.
at North Texas Regional Airport. And then the area around that zone compatible for that stuff. It's not like that.
Yeah.
It's like they're forcing that into just in the same way that the LDS Church tried to force this big temple in that small 8-acre
Yeah.
plot. It's the same way with McKinney Airport. This thing they're trying to force into this 800 parcel.
Run.
The North Texas Regional Airport has the longest runway. It's even longer than Love Field's
Mm.
runway because it was an old military base. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. So, but again, we're going to support them. We're going to get a coalition of mayors together, not just Fairview. I think Dusty's going to join us in that way.
I was wondering if Lucas gets involved
And he's
in
a
that.
pilot. Dusty's a
Oh, I didn't
pilot.
know
Yeah,
that.
and his
Okay.
plane is out
At McKinney?
in McKinney. And eventually he's probably gonna get forced out if that happens because they'll raise the landing fees and things like that. So yeah, it'll be really interesting with that. But we're gonna see if we can get a coalition of mayors to support a better choice
Yeah.
for the
Uh,
region, a better choice for the region.
that was one of the questions I was going to ask you. How much do you work with Lucas? Are there any common issues that you guys work on, or pretty much each city's kind of got its own issues?
We do meet. I talked to Chris Schulmeister just the other day in Allen. He's the mayor of Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And Bob Cox. We all work really closely together.
Mm-hmm.
We do. We don't let these other things get in our way.
Yeah.
In fact, McKinney has been very cooperative with us to get, Fairview Parkway extension. We did a series of annexations and disannexations to shore up the border for that, so it's easier access. Um, Relining the roads, like I think there's a medical center. So uh, cooperative with the police and fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very cooperative. Very
Mm-hmm.
cooperative. Yeah.
Dusty's, you've made the comment, and he's also said the same thing. And I've also always thought growth is coming. There's nothing you can do about that. You just have to manage it and do it the right
That's
way.
right. That's right.
And as far as the city council, you've got to hold the developers' feet to the fire, make sure that they abide by all the restrictions and the
Mhm.
ordinances and things like that, or you can lose control. And then once
Mhm.
somebody does it, then the next one will try to do
That's
that.
right.
I was going to ask you too. Fairview used to have a dark skies policy. Do you know?
We still have it,
Okay.
and that's the one thing that's helped us with for example, with the LDS Church.
Yes,
In a lot of places,
because
like
they're going to have a big light
height
shining
and
on.
bright is what they say of the things that they want. And and it will be cut off between, I believe, 11 p.m. and 5 a.m., which is unusual. They're usually on all night. And then two, it can't reflect outside where the footprint is.
Okay.
And I really believe because of that, it's only going to be lit up to about 89 feet.
Okay.
So those things have helped. And we had some good dark skies
Hmm.
ordinances that helped
Does
us.
that just pertain to commercial developments, lighting, or does that do with
Well,
homes
it's not
also?
commercial development. The dark skies there. It's residential. And you remember the
Okay.
church is in residential zoning,
Yeah.
so it applies to the residential zone.
So it's down lights through these. You can't have lights shining up. Is that right?
Residential
Okay.
zoning.
And
Yeah.
that's enforced. There's
Ye-
someone that. Okay.
Well, it's enforced, yeah.
Okay.
But it's right now it's done on a reaction type thing. We don't go
Yeah.
out looking for
Yeah. If someone makes a complaint, you
right,
guys will look into it.
right.
Okay. Well, you answered so many of my
I'm
questions.
trying.
Okay, let's talk about annexation. Have you annexed all of the property that you've had forecasted.
There are a few slithers, not very much, that are still in our property, but one of them's owned by the North Texas Municipal
Yeah,
Water
I was going to
District,
ask about that one in
and so
particular.
there's no advantage to do that.
Yeah.
Then there are a couple others that we service, very small parcels that we service, prior to them, but we don't provide any types of services to those parts in our ETJ. And if we were to annex them, we would have to provide services. Now, I can tell you this. This is maybe a scoop. We do own property, and we talked about this. We own property in McKinney. We own about 75 or 80 acres right south of the airport.
Are you talking about where the Fairview soccer clinic
We
is?
that's another parcel that we own too. We what we do there, we own that property, but the soccer people are renting out that space for that.
But that's you own that
We
land.
own that.
See, I've always been curious how that was named, and I looked at the city limits, and it doesn't show you own land up
No,
there
no.
on the
We
what I
own
can
it.
see.
We own it, and then
I'll
we
be
own some.
darned.
Then we own some property that's just northeast of the Herd Museum. We have some that's just south. Right. We have some that's just south of the airport. We do,
Yeah.
and that's about altogether. We have about 100. We sold off some bits and pieces, but we have about 250 acres out in McKinney. And one of the things we've talked about is what are we going to do with that property?
Hmm.
We may put a big sign up there or something. I don't know.
Let me sell it for you. Well, Fairview is, if you don't know much about Fairview, I call it's a small town with a big presence.
Yes.
I mean,
agree.
how many towns do you know with 11,500 people that have their own 4-story, beautiful? I mean, that city hall looks as good from the front as it does the back.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
they had to do that because you've got that shopping that's
Yeah.
right behind
Yeah.
it, which is another thing I wanted to ask you
Okay.
about. So the advantages of being small. You can walk in, you can talk to someone if you've got any issues, but at the same time, it's very well run. I've always had a lot of respect.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that have been on city council, and you've got some real pros sitting on
We
there.
we have a lot of really smart people, not just on council, but in the community. We
Hmm.
we really do. They know their stuff, and
Hmm.
we're trying to do more and more to involve them. One of the things that's going to be we talked about things I want to do. I want to get more people involved, different people involved in our boards and commissions. Now, we already have a restriction on how many years. I think it's 6 years. Just like the council, we have a 6-year restriction. And I think we're going to be looking at um, people that are long term on some of these boards, replacing them with people that want the opportunity to serve.
Hmm.
So I don't know how that's going to go over well,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I think it's the right thing to do, and I
Yeah.
think we need to get more people involved. Other people want to be involved, and like I said, we've got some smart people here,
You do.
and we need to use them.
Um, I remember when the Fairview Town Center was built, there was a guarantee that they would give the city $1 million minimum guaranteed in um, taxes, and I'm sure that they've blown way past that and what they contribute to the town now. But is that still your biggest moneymaker? Is a Fairview Town Center? Because they've had some big
Yeah,
vacancies in there.
yeah. It's just like what was there before the academy? That I can't think of. Was
The
it Kohl's?
academy's going in there
But what
now.
was there before that? Was it Kohl's?
Macy's.
Macy's, was
Yeah,
it Macy's? Yeah, we see a big dip in sales tax receipts because it's
they
not
went
the
under.
they went well, they moved. Did they go
Yeah.
on? Yeah.
No, I don't
Th-
know if they went
They,
under.
they moved it, but they moved away or they closed a
Yeah.
lot of their places.
And I don't understand. I actually talked to the years ago, I talked to the person that was running that operation, and I said, "You've got all this wealth around here. Why isn't this doing better?" And she said, "Well, demographically, yeah, right in this area it is, but if you move further out, we don't have the strong demographics here that pull people into this." So I just took her word on it, but I don't understand it. It's such a nice center, and um,
Well, believe it or not, I think COVID hurt us because a lot of the shops that were planning on coming out to the town center wound up going down to Waters Creek.
is that right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was
So,
being built while COVID was going on. It's like
mhm. Yep,
2008,
and that's what that was.
2009.
Yeah, that's that was one of the things
Yeah.
that happened.
So have you heard any rumors about anybody coming in other than Academy?
They haven't announced. I do know they have some other tenants that they're
Good,
courting.
good.
So we're hoping that cat. Here's another thing that happened too. Um, um, Kohl's and J.C. Penney's too, for that matter. They owned not only just their buildings, but they also own the parking lot.
Yes, I forgot about that. You're right.
And so if you want to have like a little, what do you call it, pad
Yeah,
site,
a
a
pad
pad
site.
site,
For fast food or
they didn't want to do it. But now that the town center has bought back Kohl's, they own that. So there's a possibility now for those pad sites.
oh, that'd be
Yeah.
nice. Because you've got great traffic right there
Yeah.
on Stacy. You just can't see those boutique shops in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know
You
if
got to get
that's ever
something to
gonna
draw them
Yeah.
in there. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, we're aware of that, and the town center folks, they're actively trying to
Trying to
trying to
find
get
someone
people,
to come in.
and we're going to try to create some partnerships as far as having activities, working with them. Like we had spring fling, which was great, and we had the Christmas thing. But we're also going to look at other things that we can do to draw people in there, like some other events to
Mhm.
draw people in. So we're looking at that.
So
You talked about Beaver Run
oh,
or
yeah,
something
it's the
like
one.
that.
Were there beavers there?
Well, from what I find out, that they come and they go, and
Oh,
it's
they're still around.
well, they're not there now, but they'll come back. They're like cyclic. They do things. They build their dam, and then they go away
Oh,
for
that's
whatever
cool.
reason,
I didn't know
and then they
that.
come back. So
This
it's
is
nothing that man has done or the town has done to drive them
okay.
out.
Okay. This is
So I did
called
find that
Beaver
out.
Run. That a lot of people don't realize there's a real nice 28-acre walking trail,
Hmm.
and they've got a place, an overlook, and that would have been cool if you could sit there and watch the beavers doing their thing
Yeah,
because you can see where
yeah.
they done their work there. But don't beavers, they'll take down those trees though, won't they? I mean,
Well, they'll take down some trees, yeah, but it seems like it's worked for all these years. So hopefully
yeah.
they'll come back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool. I
yeah.
wonder where they go.
No, maybe we should do a study and find out
Yeah.
where they go.
And Fairview's right next to, gosh, thousands and thousands of acres of uh, land owned by I mean, you've got deer,
Hmm.
believe it or not. People have seen deer in
Coyotes,
Fairview, coyotes.
yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how Fairview still has that country feel to it, but you've got all that
Just
shopping right there,
yes,
and you can jump right on 75, which is a
yes,
major thoroughfare. You can jump on 121 from right there. So,
yep, it
um,
is.
if I had a dart to throw at any place in Dallas, I'd rather be selling. I couldn't find it. I'd rather be right here in Fairview and Lucas for
So
sure.
you need to move to Fairview.
Well, we actually bought a lot in Fairview,
Oh, okay.
and it was in Oakwood Estates. And I probably shouldn't say this, but the reason we didn't build there is Oakwood and Fairview was so high profile, so glitzy. And I thought, we feel more comfortable in more of a country setting, which Lucas is.
Well,
And I thought, well, let's raise our son in Lucas because it's more our style. But that's the reason we didn't build
well,
in Fairview.
the median house in Lucas is
I
higher than
and I know when did all that happen?
I don't know.
I just
It's
saw
like 1.3, something like that in Lucas,
I
right?
guess
And I
I
think
just saw something about Lucas being considered one of the wealthiest
yeah,
towns in
it's
Texas.
1.3
When did
million.
all that happen? I mean, I
Uh,
live right here.
I don't know, but so you should have moved to Fairview.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm very fond of both Fairview
Oh,
and Lucas.
I am too.
So,
Yeah,
well, you've been so gracious in answering all my questions,
this is
and
fun.
I'm gonna ask you in another year if you don't mind, and say, well, what surprised you? What worked? What didn't work? What would you have done differently? And what are you gonna do next time
Okay,
around?
well, I might not be mayor
Oh, you'll be
in another
mayor.
year.
Henry said they had some good candidates for mayor, but he said you're the guy that they need, and I can
Well,
see why now since I've had my chance to meet you now.
okay.
So thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It was